Welcome everyone to this talk. It will be about Power BI report development, especially with the new way of how we are going to develop reports most likely in the future, and a bit of overview of that. Let me do a really quick introduction. My name is Mihály Kávási. I am a group manager at Avanade. I'm mainly responsible for delivering large Power BI projects or Fabric projects nowadays. And I'm also a certified trainer for the last 5, 6, 7 years. I did lots of trainings for lots of different companies, starting from really basic, getting started with Power BI to the most advanced, how we can reach to developer level kind of trainings. I have all the certifications that are coming. I haven't updated of now starting getting the Fabric ones. My kind of the biggest thing I am quite proud of is this fast-track recognized solution architect certification, which I got from Microsoft for Power BI. I think only 40 people has it in the world. Now this has closed. This doesn't exist anymore. It was kind of a stopgap until Power BI and Fabric had its own proper certification path to get to a solution engineer or solution architect. So what we are going to talk about is Power BI report development. But before that, I want to just briefly mention data model development, because I think it's really good to compare that to what we have for reporting. So like for a long time now, data model development was properly supported by lots and lots of tools. You could do version controlling. You had ability to have multiple developers developing the same data model or semantic layer nowadays. At the same time, there was lots of testing support, optimization, documentation, all of these things that you could do in an automated or like in an automated way or with code, and the proper CI/CD support existed. It is coming from because basically the data model is already existed. It wasn't created just for Power BI, but already existed in analysis services. So there was quite a long history. So what was new with Power BI basically is the report. So like in the models, as you see, there are lots and lots of tools that you could use: Visual Studio Code, DevOps, REST APIs, Tabular Editor, Doc Studio, of the community tools, ALM Toolkit, and lots and lots of others that was used for development. And also there was lots of developer training available. Power BI Masterclass is something I do, which is basically like advanced developer level trainings for someone who is quite established already in Power BI but want to get to the next level. So that's for data models. But for reports, the problem is, even today, if you develop a Power BI solution, the report is a binary file. Basically, it is when you deploy it into Power BI, there is no real way to individually, like you write code to affect it with the PBIX version when we talk about. So basically, you had to come up with creative ways to allow multiple developers developing the same report. Version controlling was basically adding a file into DevOps, but there was no like line by line version controlling ability and comparing differences and merge conflicts and all of these other things. So this is when they announced last year the Power BI enhanced reporting format, which is called PBIR. And that's still in preview. It still hasn't been GA yet, to the best of my knowledge. But what it enables us to do is, now that was available for data sets or semantic layers for a long time now, that you could actually get to a quite detailed level, even column by column or measure by measure breakdown into a folder structure, and then you can manage those files individually. Now this came to the reports. This is really new. Not a lot of people have experienced it, so I thought it would be really good use case, really good to find some use cases to see what we could do with this. And then I was actually had a quite a good use case last year, where we had a Power BI report file that had like 90 pages and 6,000 visuals. Don't ask me why. It had to have. And then basically the ask was, okay, we want to have a rule of how the headers should appear. What should be in the headers and what shouldn't be in the headers, which visual should have a header, which visual should have a header. And we thought about spending weeks of manually checking 6,000 visuals and setting them up, and then for each of them controlling how the headers should display is not the most efficient use of our time. So let's see if we can do it with PBIR. So that was the use case, and we started experimenting with it. And I will guide you through where we got to and what is our conclusion with that. So please feel free to stop me at any point if you have any questions, or if you have anything to comment. I will try to look at the chat. Okay, so let's go. So getting started. So first, in order to be able to access this new version, what we need to do, and I will need to exit, is if you have a PBIX file, if you start that file, first we need to do a bit of setup to be able to get there. Just a second till it starts. But as you can see, I already did that. But let me show you how you can get there. So you need to go to options and settings, options. And then there is preview features. And there are a few things. First is that you need to have the PBIP save option enabled. This is the project file that you can create. Previously, it was good for having file structure for the model, but now this store reports in the enhanced metadata format. This is, if you enable this also, then if you save the file in the PBIP format, then you end up with this structure that you see here. I'm not going to save it again because it's there. And this structure enables you to see the files. Okay, so let's start to understand what is in those files. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to use Visual Studio Code. Please let me know if you don't see it or if it's too small. I will try to zoom in. Just to understand what is the format that we have. So we have the PBI.report folder, and in that report folder, just for a sec, I will go back here. So this is the PBIP file. So if I open this with code, you see it will just define where is the report, basically. That's what it defines, the PBIP file. In the report, we have another definition that defines where is the model. So in this case, because it's a PBIX file, obviously the model and the report was in the same file, so they are just referencing the other part of the report. But we have live connections, so the model can be a totally different model in the cloud. So yeah. Okay, so that's what we have here. Then we have static resources, and as you can see here, these are the ones that are, all the icons that was used to create the report, all the theme files that was create the report. And then this is the base theme file, as you can see here, it's there. So the registered resources basically that are specific to this report that was added to the report at the time. So then we have PBI local settings. Basically, this is something that is just true for this current version in the desktop. It is helps you make sure that everything is, like not corrupted, basically. Gives you the report ID that could be useful if you want to extract it. Then you have custom visuals. If there is a custom visual, then you can see the actual code of the custom visual, which could be quite useful to see what kind of custom visual is used. And then the definitions, which is kind of the base thing that is the most important for us. We have the report JSON. So that defines all the settings that you do on the report level. As you can see, all the report level filters are there. the theme that is used. As you can see, it defines which themes that are used. Then it defines the page setup. As you can see, how it is set up, what kind of packages we use. So everything, all the files you saw previously, this is where it references those. So this is where it combines the images files into the report, so it knows it's part of it.
Mihály, excuse me, there was a request to if it's possible to make the texts bigger.
Yep. Okay.
Thank you.
So something like this. Hopefully it is useful. So I don't know how I can do it the best. Yeah, this way. So this is the basically the description. I don't want to go into really big detail because it would take really long time, but please stop me at any point if you have something you want us to go deeper or have a question. Okay, so then we have bookmarks. So this is all the bookmarks we have. As you can see, it lists the visuals that are affected, and it has things that, you know, the state, it records the state, how the filters are, so everything is up in the bookmarks you can follow here. And then it has the pages. The page, the structure is that you have pages, then within the pages you have the page description. Again, now this is the page level details. So the page level filters, the page level setup, page level background, filter cards, visual interactions within the page. This is where you find the visual interactions, which visual is interacting with what visual, how, in which way. As you can say, data filter, highlight filter. This is how it defines these things. And then we go to the visuals. And this, as you can see, this is a folder structure. So like each visual, you have a visual ID, and then within that folder, you will have the visual JSON, which defines the visual itself. As you can see, it is quite a complex JSON. Again, I don't want to go into large detail of what is it, because it's different for each type of visual. So it contains the setup. This is where the name of the visual is. This is where it says, okay, if it's part of a group, which I'm going to talk about in a sec. I'm just quickly trying to find a good one. So because what we need to understand, so what is a visual? So as you can see here, this is also visual, but this is actually a grouping within the selection pane. So you can group visuals, you know, you can have those visual groupings. So this is a group. So everything is a visual. So like a standard visual, charts are visuals, all the images, all the shapes, all the text folders, all the grouping, anything that is an object, basically. So I think the visual name is not best, but it's an object within the report in some way that you can interact with. That is a visual. So, and you can see for some, if there is a mobile version, then you can see that it has a mobile JSON that defines how it should be displayed on the mobile. Okay. Any questions about this? This was just a quick run through of what we have in the code. Any questions about this? Nope. Okay, so as we go through, so this is the structure. This is how it works. You know, if you go here, obviously you will see the same thing, just in different ways. So like that's what we have: pages, report section, everything. So that's how everything is structured. So okay, but what can we do with this? Because okay, we have this structure, really nice, but why? And let me go back to the presentation really quickly. So, you know, this is what we talked about. So the reason why I wanted to show you this, because it's important to understand where we can find certain things, because then we can start interact with it. But there are some complications, as you can see. So like understanding, you know, finding, you know, the visual you see on your screen in Power BI and the visual is in the file folder, it's quite hard to understand because, you know, it's stored as IDs. So you don't know the name. You need to click through all the visuals, open all the files to actually find the visual you are looking for. And certain attributes of visuals can be in the theme file. So like not everything. So like if you see the visual has a background, it's not necessarily in the visual definition file if the background is defined in the theme file. A really small change in the desktop, if you do a few clicks here and there, can have lots and lots of changes in the files itself. So as if you start interacting with in Power BI and save the PBIR file with some changes, you will see that sometimes even one small change that you think is a really small change can have effect on hundreds and hundreds of files in the PBIR format. And the desktop also sometimes make updates on files that you have not changed. And to be honest, I don't 100% understand why, but sometimes, the code changes in files that you like in a page file when you only change just one visual. And I'm not 100% able to explain why, but that's kind of what I experienced as I went through these files and start interacting with them. So because the goal here is, okay, let's start to understand, can we programmatically work with Power BI without breaking it, obviously the report. So that's really important. So the first thing what I wanted to do here is, because as we started experimenting with it, okay, I need what I can do that is kind of safe, or what is the first thing I would do. So I started experimenting with it to say, okay, let's first just use this folder structure to start extracting information out of the report that was previously much harder to extract. So like what's in my report, how many line charts I have, how many bar charts I have, how many different things I have. Let's start experimenting with the report. Okay, so I brought you some scripts that I put together. And the way I put together, because I'm not a Python programmer at all, I use ChatGPT. So I will, during this session, I will show a few things that I did. So like how I work. I don't know any one of you, all of you are working with or familiar with Visual Studio Code? Or used it for something? Yep, good. And does any one of you have the Copilot in Visual Studio enabled? Yep. Good. Okay, so if you have never worked with Copilot, I will just try to show you what you can do during this session, how you can use Copilot to do something like this. I am not a Python programmer. I don't really know Python. I have a basic understanding of programming, but it really helped me to get to a level of confidence that I know if whatever I want to do, I will be able to do. And that's I think a real power for me, for AI, that basically if you have a good idea, at least it can get you to a stage where you can verify if it's a valid idea or not. And then a proper developer can deliver it properly, but at least you can get to a point when you can create a demo, which is really important if you want to do some kind of, have some idea that you think could be valuable. Okay, so what I did, I created a few things, and we are going to use this to kind of understand of what we are doing. Yeah, I think there is now. So you mean the ChatGPT that you can get for free, Tom? Maybe I think now they said that you can get Copilot for free, but I'm not 100% sure. It was £100 for me when I bought it, or $100 per year, which is, I thought, it's worth it because it really helped me. But so what I did, I wrote a bunch of code, mostly with Viva. Okay, this code is basically, I want to understand what's in my report. So if I run this code, and I'm not going to go through line by line because it would take too much time. So if I run this code, what it will give me is it will give me a folder structure. So if I open it up, I'm starting to have things like, okay, this is what I have. basically I now, and it's not just a simple folder structure. Now I started to extract information that is in the files. So like, what is the name of the visual, which page, what is the name of the page, and what is the type of the visual. So now I can start some kind of analysis or start finding something. Okay, I am looking for, I'm looking for this visual because I want to affect, or I want to affect all the shape files. So now I can create a list of, okay, what is the IDs of all the shape files, so I can do something with it. Or I even just understand, okay, how I can find the visual, okay, in which page, in which name I will find the visual I'm looking for. So the first reason I wanted to create this is log analytics. I don't know how much you are familiar with log analytics. So log analytics is, or profiler, if someone was from SQL background. So profiler gives you detailed query level performance information, or timings of how, and query details of each query that is hitting the database or hitting Power BI in the backend, how long it takes to calculate something. And it's really useful for performance analysis. To understand, okay, which queries are the slowest, which queries are performing not up to your expectations. So, but it gives you IDs. It gives you dataset ID. If you do log analytics, you actually extract out the report ID and the visual ID from log analytics. That is, I think, not in Profiler, but it's in log analytics. But in a 90-page report with 6,000 visuals, finding that one visual would be quite hard. So now you can say, okay, it's in this page and it's this visual. So because you can extract this information out from the Power BI report. And the IDs is consistent. So the IDs in this file is the same as the IDs that you get if you publish the file. So they remain consistent. So you can do things like that. So, and then I started thinking, okay, what else I could do with it. So I wanted to create that. I want to find some files with some criteria. So I created this kind of search word. Let me show you that really quickly. So basically what it says, give me in this files, in this folder, give me all the files that have this in them, that contain this word. So now I can start doing something with, okay, I want to do something with KPIs, or I want to do something with visual groups. So then if I run this, as you can see, it goes through all the files and then shows me how many it found that has those information. So now if I go and where are you? As you can see, it created a few files for me. So now I can see, okay, these files contain the word KPI. It's not necessarily all the files I want. It's not the best script in the world, but it is good enough for me to say, okay, these visual files is what I need if I want to change something on KPIs. So you can run this and then you can start building like step by step. So this would be my first recommendation if you start working with this, is don't try to create a script that will do the whole thing as one big script and then it will just changes. Try to break up your processes to small steps, because it will be much more manageable and much more you can control it much better. So I always start with, okay, first find the thing I want to modify, and the second step is modify those things. So just to show you how it works, and let me just quickly commit these. So, sorry. Will it let me commit? Yeah. Just a sec. Come on, don't be so slow. Okay. because just wanted to show you something. Yeah, thing changes. Oh wow. Hopefully. Okay, hopefully I haven't overwritten lots of things that I shouldn't have. Okay. Come on, come on. Okay. So yeah, I don't know why the Python script opened. It should be this one. Okay, so just wanted to show you something. So if I open the PBIR file that we have here. No, I won't be able to show you. Sorry, because this is a model that's inside. This contains the model. So, but what I want to show you, one thing that we haven't seen is where are the report level measures stored. So in a report file, if you go to definition, if you create report level measures, then it will create a new JSON file called report extensions. And that's where you will have all your report level measures stored. So that's another thing that you couldn't do before. If your end users created report level measures, and there is in a self-service scenario when you have the central team who is creating a data model and it allowing business users to create report measures or create new reports out of those data models or semantic layers. They usually create new measures in the report, but they are not part of the model. They are only part of the report. And previously there was no way to get to those measures. But now with this, you can get and query these report extension files, and yeah, and you could now get out the report level measures. Why it would be important? Because if some measures turn into be really useful and you want to add them to your model, you can just extract them out from your report, and then you can basically add with tabular editor or something, you can add them to the central model, so everyone else will have access to it. It's not going to be specific to that report that it was created, but it could be accessible to everyone. So that's kind of one other use case that we use this for. Okay, so as we go there, so like this query would do that would export report level measures using this report extensions JSON, but because this model, this PBIX file, creating a PBIX file is basically, you cannot create report level measures because they automatically become model measures. But now what I could do, let me just get rid of this, just show you something. So as you can see, we have all of these in the selection pane. We have all of these groups. It's a Microsoft demo report, and as you can see, it has all of these created. We have lots of visual grouping, and you know, as a test, I've said it would be really nice if we would add group next to each of the grouping names, just to make it easier to find. So I want to see for every visual group, I want to add the group as part of the name. So and we can create a report, or create a script that can do that. So in this case, it will read from this file, which I need to update because the file is now today's date. It should work. And then it should update all the files that are visuals. So if we run, we will see if it works, hopefully. No, it didn't find matching files. Where is it? Let's see. No, it should be okay. Yep, so it went through all the files, and if I open our PBIR file, what I expect to see is all the groups, visual groups will have an updated name. So let's see if that happened. As you can see now, all of these have a name group next to it. So for those kind of bulk updates or changes, this way that you can use this kind of report, new enhanced report format, really useful. You don't need to do it manually. There was no other way to do it really. So this is really useful to use code for that. So to have something else, so you can see we have these KPIs. These are just quick examples what I created. And again, I want to update the file. Need to be, and just to make sure we have the right format. Okay. So in this case, I want to update the background, I want to create drop shadow for all of the KPIs. So I can go, it will run through all of the, as you can see, it has some code that says, okay, identify if it's a visual and do the change then, otherwise just skip it. The code is not yet accessible, but I will make it accessible shortly. Not in a public GitHub repo. So if I open up PBIP, then what you can do, what you will see, hopefully, again, that all the KPI visuals will have a really ugly background, as you can see, in all pages. So basically what we what we saw now is that you could create these kind of codes and you can do these kind of bulk updates. But if we go back to the presentation, because it's really nice, but there are some caveats. Just a sec. Just want to make sure I can see everybody, see the chat. So you can explore the files, you can create these things. And then we did the demo. Okay. So what you can do, and then I will show you the Copilot part. How I use Copilot. So like how it's working for me. So one thing is that if we think about this whole code management to make it complete, obviously what you would like to do is what you do for the data models or semantic layers is that you would like to manage the report that is published already, not on your desktop, but the published report that is published in a workspace, like we do with the semantic layers. You publish a semantic layer, and from then on, you change the published one using tabular editor, DevOps, and all the other things. So there is a way we could do things. So like first, there is this GitHub integration or the Git integration ability into Power BI workspace, and then basically you can synchronize, have a two-way synchronization with DevOps. So like any changes you make in the DevOps GitHub repo or GitHub or Azure DevOps repo will synchronize automatically to the workspace, and vice versa. If you change the report, let's say, it will synchronize back to the GitHub repo, which sounds in theory really nice. But it depends on what you connect, which branch you connect. But basically, there is no branching out possibility. So like if you connected master to your workspace, then any change you make automatically goes into master. So there is no ability to branch out and check and then only do the change when you are confident that that's what you wanted in the master. So the other thing that you get currently, and that will change most likely, and I haven't checked it in the last month or so, so maybe it has changed since, haven't read anything, is that once you start editing the report through this Git integration, basically you don't have the ability to connect with desktop or do any kind of authoring other than through code, which is not something you would like to do, because the design, in my opinion, is something you will always do. You will always going to do visually, because it's really hard to design in code, I think, in my opinion, especially when you don't really know what the end result should be. You need to do that trial and error tests. And what we experienced with this 90-page report is after a certain, and it's actually as you can see in this link, the Microsoft documentation talks about, if it has too many objects, it's basically not able to manage that and basically errors out and cannot do the synchronization, and you cannot save your changes. So that's what we constantly faced. Basically, it was constantly failing. So these are all known limitations, and these are all things that they are working on to do. But kind of the conclusion of that is that currently, for large-scale development approaches, it's kind of too risky. The creative part still need to be in Power BI desktop or web authoring, and that's still really needed. So like until it's 100% stable that one doesn't break the other, it is something you need to avoid. But definitely something worth already exploring, because this is coming. For documentation analysis and this kind of small scale mass updates, it's already useful. And as I will show you in a sec how I use Copilot. Copilot really increase productivity of what you can do with it. So like it is really useful. And one thing that I think is not in this slide is because kind of the whole idea is not just thinking about one report. You should think about the whole of the tenant. In a large organization, you have thousands of reports. And things like things that you could do once this becomes live, because what will happen in the near future that all published reports will automatically be changed to this new PBIR enhanced report format. So currently it's not, but it will be changed soon, and there will be an announcement of that. So you will be able to access this folder structure in these details from API, which is the Fabric API. You need to use Power BI API. Will not contain report elements, but the Fabric API, you can access this information, and you could do things like, okay, a company changed the logo. Now you have 200 reports to update the logo. You can run a simple script, go through the API and update all the, as you can see, there was the place where you can have the file. You basically just change the logo, update the picture with the same name, but with a new picture, and then all the reports will automatically change. And then you don't have to download them. You don't have to do anything. It will just be done. Or there are some things that you want to change, for everything. You could just run a script and then do that for all the reports you have in your tenant. So these can be really, really valuable. So I think that's the main goal, is to have a similar support for report development than you have for data model development. Obviously, because of the creative part, it's not going to be 100%, just like we do with semantic layers. Semantic layers are, for most of us, it's like we 100% develop it by code and not visually. But with the report, I don't think we will come too close to 100% ever. But we can see. Any questions so far?
There's a question about the code, if it's going to be.
Yeah, as I said, it's not in a public report. That, but I will put some of these codes up into a public repo, and we'll share it. It will be so. You will see my GitHub is github.com Kávási Mihály, and yeah, it will be there shortly.
Awesome.
Okay. So that was kind of the report development part, and just to show you like an example of how I usually use. So you can see this. So like this is ChatGPT. If you have it. Basically, what you can do, I just wrote a simple thing. Please create a Python script to set the background to a shape visual. But in order to make the code more performant or more likely to work, what I started doing is, the first thing is what I do is I just want to find the visual that it matches. And as you can see here, when you are selecting a file, it will automatically add it as a context to Copilot. And then you can do things like code base. Basically, you can add the whole code base into context for Copilot. So it will, if it needs to, it can go through the whole of the code base. And I can write the same thing that I wrote here. Let's see if it works. Okay. Okay, and then you can do one more thing, which is using this. You can do workspace, which is kind of the same as the code base, but I usually do both just to make sure it is not going to limit itself to that one file, but it can search through everything in this file folder. So you can select what type of AI or LLM that you want to work with. What I usually do is as we go through, as I start writing the code and see if it works or not, because we always test it. Sometimes one is better than the other, and what I found is that if you get stuck with one, you switch to another one, and it will, because it's a different LLM, it will kind of push it further. Find another way to get to that result that I want. Obviously, writing much longer scripts and much better descriptions also helps of what you actually want to achieve. And this new Claude 3.7.1 that was recently announced is really, really useful. It seems it is one of the best. So you can run this code. I use the chat mostly. You can use, I don't know if you know what the difference between Copilot edits or Copilot chat. Tom, I don't know yet. I haven't heard any announcements when going to be GA. So what you can see here, just for someone who have not used Copilot, so you can see that it used 93 references. It means it checked through 93 files to find the shape files. Then it is going through and then now writing this code for me. And I don't think it has finished. Yeah, it's finished, yeah. So writing this code, and then it will find a visual JSON containing this visual background, show property true, and then it write this code. And then, we could try it out to see if it changes. So what I could do, I could say I want to create a new editor. This one is a new editor. And if I run this, no such file directory, I think because it is looking for report directory. Where is it? Report directory. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm usually need some time, a few iterations to create the right code. But basically, as you start adding these codes and then you say, okay, this is my error message. What could be the problem? Space, code base. Obviously, oh, sorry. That's not what I should have written. But then as you iterate through, you can get to a result you would like. You can be quite efficient with it if obviously you need to have a basic understanding of the code. So because sometimes it's not worth asking the ChatGPT, you can just modify one to lines of code yourself if it's obvious what the problem is. It's not obvious to AI. So that's kind of what I wanted to show. Sorry, there was a question. Do you know what the difference with Copilot edits and chat? So the chat will create the files here, and then you can decide manually if you want to apply them. If you do it with edits, it automatically adds the changes to those files. So it starts. So you can write a whole, create me a web portal using these technologies, and then it will create all the files and the folder structure and everything you need without you having to manually copy them in. That's also good, but it's kind of, you lose the ability to really understand what's happened. So because so many things changes at the same time that it's for me, it's a bit harder to understand, okay, what it's actually doing. It can change, hundreds of files at the same time, and then, understand, okay, why changes happened and why it is breaking, why it is not working. It can take some time to understand. So that's what I wanted to talk about. I hope you found it useful. Any questions for anything regarding the PBIR format, the Copilot, or anything? Okay, thank you very much, everyone, for
Awesome.
attending.